Hey, Darth Andrew, what's up? We have returned. Tried to stream a minute ago, and it gave me some weird errors, so I just restarted the computer, and everything's working fine again, so... Congrats! We are back. I'm back. I'm back for now. Hey, what's up, Ash? Good hanging with you and the wife at Comic-Con. That was fun. Alright, folks. For those who aren't in the know, I got some leftover stuff to do from Con. Some commissions. So we're going to be doing some construction stuff here. Got to crank these out over the next few days. And then Tuesday I have to disappear for another 5 days. I have some family stuff I got to take care of, so... Oh, son of a bitch. Look at that. My Cintiq is off. Let me save this and reboot Photoshop. Figures. Just reload my preferences. Restore L. Always back up your Wacom preferences. Hey Tobin, what are you hitting the mic 800 times? Alright, let's see if that worked. That worked. Let me reopen Photoshop. If you try to reload Wacom preferences while you got Photoshop open, it's not going to go well for you. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Hey Ford, if you say hi again. There you go. Man, that is the worst food I've ever eaten. That ain't my kind of food, man. I don't want to even get into the food discussion. That, you know, it's something I'm gonna solve next year. I didn't. That's why I was telling you guys. Anywhere you guys know? No, man, we're fine with that. I'm like, all right, well, yeah, you'll see. It's not good, dude. You know, there's like an IHOP 3 blocks away. I come to find out the next day. Could have just gone there. How was the con? Like any other con, man. Kind of a colossal waste of time. So, I got another year in it for me, and then we'll see. We'll see if I do them past next year. All right, I'll turn that down. Because I already paid for it, and I want to take Game Cave there. And if I'm not enjoying the experience selling a book, then I'll be done. All right. So this dude wanted Frankenstrike. I didn't really watch Ben 10, although I worked on the t-shirts. Briefly. Briefly, I worked on the t-shirts. Those cons are sort of predicated on people offsetting their costs across multiple cons. So if I do one, I kind of have to do like 5, and I'm not gonna do that. So I don't know. We'll see. So all I really want to do is work on the basic construction. Yeah, Ben 10. I worked on the t-shirts for a while. I think for about 6 months. Thanks. That's what we're working on now. So center line. And then we can build the shapes up from there. But yeah, man, like driving for 12 hours one way plus another 12 hours and then drawing my ass off. I just don't know. I don't know. It took a lot out of me. Yeah, I wasn't in the peppiest of moods about it, so I stayed offline for a couple days so I can work on other stuff. Fun part is I get to go back on an airplane Tuesday, so that should be wonderful. Well, I used to set up a booth to go. That's how I got work. Like it wasn't so much selling stuff as I would get exposure and be able to make some new contacts. That's all gone away now from cons. So where am I heading? I gotta go to Indiana. My wife's father's got medical issues, so we gotta go out there. No, not really a fun trip. It's not gonna be good, bro. Yeah, well, circle of life, right? Yeah, be the third one in 3 years, you know. Can you do at some point? It's like, well, I guess that's just the way life is. Um, yeah, it happens. Hey, Pegasus, what's up? So we'll just come over here. Let's get these legs worked out. I'm not going to get too detail heavy on this because I'll just work it out on the page. Just want to get the construction in a first pass at the faces. And everything else I'll just do. Good. Incremental improvements, right? Real progress you can build off of. Fake progress, you know, you just eventually have to start over. So, try to get center worked out. You got any big upcoming projects? I just got some more covers coming out from IDW, and then I'm gonna probably take a break from that for a while because I got stuff I gotta finish up. Gotta finish Power Prints and Game Cave, and I don't know. I'm just big projects just get in the way of my own projects. And you know the whole hey, I will officially work on this license thing doesn't really. At the end of the day, what I conjure up tends to get me the most exposure and sell better than whatever else I do for other people. So I don't know, guys. Alright, let's save this. And we can start to block in. So now that we got like the basic construction worked out, and like if you're not as familiar with the construction shapes and seeing three-dimensionally, then I would recommend even going further to add little center lines on everything to build topography, you know, across the image. So if you need that, feel free to go that far. I kind of don't. So then we can build costume details and silhouette right over. The trick isn't just to draw random lines, it's to actually build a topography up in your head to actually see where things are wrapping around, you know? And you should really spend a lot of time getting that perfect. I mean, I did. I just didn't stream it for years, you know? I mean, I really started going full bore on that around 2003, 2004, so do the math, you know? I broke even, like I always do. I never, you know, they're still technically working on it. This is still part of Vegas Con. So, it takes practice, man. It takes a long while, you know, and then, you know, like if I were drawing this as a regular comic, I would probably try to be a little bit more aware of some things I'm pushing because they don't always work in a panel. Like at this particular scale, if he had to sit down at a table and drink a cup of coffee, you know, like you got to think about that. I ran into that problem on Monstroids. They all had to sit down, and I'm like, they're all giant. It's like you trying to make all the He-Man figures sit in a Star Wars set, you know, trying to shove them all in the Millennium Falcon. So it's like you'd have to think about it from that angle. But for pinups, it goes much easier. Yeah, you can a little bit more leeway. I mean, this is pretty much me drawing monstroids. Like, instead of Frankenborg, I'm drawing Frankenstrike. Yeah, I mean, it always helps to maybe take something you've done too and try to like try doing a wraparound model. You know, like you know, 3/4 front, 3/4 back. You know, and in between. Try to start to rotate what you're doing. Once you kind of get an idea of, if you already have a piece that's working, then you kind of already understand it. So sometimes that can help too. You know, and chalk that up to like development. You know, just personal improvement. Drawing from imagination was just memory. Yeah, sure. You can draw from imagination. But I'm sure maybe some neuropsychologist will. I don't know, man. I think when people say drawing from imagination is you're not looking at a picture and redrawing that thing verbatim, right? You know, like, you know, I can just come over here and if I wanted to just make something up, you know? Now, is this exact pose or idea buried somewhere in my head? I don't know. You know? Does it really matter? You know? Same with like, if you want to get like super heroic, right? You know? You can do like a really weird Batman. To do, you know? Goes on and on. It goes on and on and on. Like with this, I had two different poses lined up. I had this one and this one. But I figured I could save this one for later in case someone ever wants me to draw another Frankenstrike. So, alright. So all I want to do now is come in here and mess with the face. Now we'll turn the red tint up. Because I'm just used to seeing that when I sketch. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. It's the first Spider-Man film I haven't worked on since Spider-Man 3. I mean, I worked on Spider-Man 3 and all the other ones since, so it's nice to go into a Spider-Man movie and have no fucking clue what's going on. Normally you start working on merchandise a year out, so... One second. There we go. This is Frankenstrike from Ben 10. Do you believe in the working on one layer method? Bro, I just believe on iteration, construction, perspective. If you can do it all in one shot, then go ahead. If people feel that makes them a better artist, then no employer I've ever worked for has been like, did you do it all in one layer? Oh, you suck. We're not paying you. I just think artists sometimes compete with themselves. Like, can you never erase? Because when you draw on a piece of paper and you erase, consider that a layer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so ridiculous. I've seen guys, like, I've worked with guys at art departments who are like, man, I don't even save. I'm like, you're going to get fired, like, if you don't fucking save. Like, you know? I just see, it's just nonsense, man. Like, some of the shit artists conjure up for themselves. Like, paints have layers. You let it dry, you build over it. You let it dry, you build over it. You know? Like, yeah, it's funny, right? It's ridiculous. I have another question. Is it okay to use the same reference for study? Yes, it's okay. Like, the only thing you don't want to do is start redrawing other people's art and putting your name on it. You know, if you want to break down something someone already did, learn the construction, learn the shapes. Yeah, I mean, when you're in a production and you got to work something out, what do you think they spend a year or two doing? You know, when you watch those Disney guys, they go and they draw from life so they understand how lions move. And then, someone does some key art and they tear apart each other's drawings, and then whichever one gets picked gets rebuilt or resculpted three-dimensionally, and then they all go and animate based off that stuff. So, yeah. It's all study. All right. So, been trying to do digital paint. It's been 3 days. It's just, I know, right? Those digital paints take forever to dry, man. Digital lets you just become 4 different artists at the same time. Really was what it does. But traditional allows you. I do everything. That's why I do everything. The one thing I don't do is sit here and create some weird art competition with myself, or let me see if I can just limit. Time is the biggest limiter. What you do in a certain amount of time to me is like sometimes you have a lot of time, sometimes you have no time. Sometimes you, like with these, I have a certain amount of time I can spend on each one because I'm only making so much. So I have like limits in terms of that. But in terms of like, I'm gonna draw. I did that when I was a kid. I drew everything on one piece of paper. It fucking took forever, And then I learned, oh look, I can do shapes and then like lightboard over them. You know, Disney animators had copy machines back in the 60s and 70s, a Xerox machine that allowed them to do that. So, what is my method for turning? I don't know what turning forms is. You mean rotating 2D objects? Silhouette. Everything would be a silhouette. Unless you want to know how, like, I can flip. If you want to know how I flip a pose, I have a little trick on my art tips playlist about that. Which one is it? Let me see if I can bring it up. YouTube. If we come into my channel, man, I have YouTube Red and it still hasn't given me YouTube Red yet. It fucking sucks. I called them about that last week and I'm like, give it 3 days. And it's been like 5. Art tips. Where is it? Lighting tips, composition, Ruffy, composition, drawing, silhouettes. Oh. I gotta like actually make a video out of this alone. Even I can't remember which one this was. I didn't intend to talk about it. It's a good question. Let me hit pause. Nope, that's not it. Is it this one? No. We'll find it. Maybe it's on this one. You know what? I bet you it's in the Drawing X-Men one. That's where I think it is. Where is it? Drawing X-Men. X-Men Silhouettes. I think that's the one it was under. To try this one? Oh, wait, nope, this one. This is the one. Silhouettes Part 2. So, I get into a really quick tip around, where is it? Right here. The 9-minute mark. Silhouettes Part 2. Wow, has it been this long since I did this? Yeah. So, basically, I show how you can quickly do a 3/4 turnaround, or 3/4 front and 3/4 back really quickly without doing tons of like, see these right here? These are tons of like, so you just duplicate this and then you find the center line and then pretend that center line is the back. So instead of looking at the front, pretend now you're looking at the back. Watch, see. So the center line bends forward right there. This is nifty, right? I taught this one to myself in 1999 because I hated using a ruler. Now just pretend the center line inverts and you're seeing the arch of the back. Look at that shit. It's magic, right? And it lines right up. So all you got to do is just change some of the proportion on the forearms, the front and back leg. Yeah. Instant model sheet. Boom! Look at that. How long did that take? Took nothing. All right. This is going to be good enough. This is going to be good enough for drawing. Yeah, I figured that one out using tracing paper back in 1999. 'Cause I was doing all these model sheets for my own little Star Wars animation project. You can do in-betweens in between that, but that's the easiest way I've ever figured it out, man. I sat in my room going, that's so smart. Because I was sitting there like measuring shit out. It was taking for fucking ever. I was like, this is stupid. So I'll have to make it individual. I believe in the power of silhouettes, my man. All you gotta do is just train your mind. Save you a lot of time. Do, 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 do. I don't like any of the designs for any of the Injustice games. So it's not my thing, man. I don't like that pseudo-realistic milkshake look, man. It's not my thing. I'll always prefer animation and line art designs and stuff, so I wish they made the game look more like actual artwork and not, I don't know, it's not my thing. I get why people like it. I just don't like any of it. The Dragon Ball Z game was my second favorite game at E3, you know? So I think it's badass. I'm a big fan of Arc System Works, so I love Guilty Gear. I bought that shit. I imported it on my Dreamcast with my DCX import Dreamcast disc. So I loved it. Thought it was amazing. My games of the show was Dragon Ball Fighters, Mario Odyssey, and Battle Chasers. It's my shit. Oh, it's my jam. I like the promise of Shenmue, right? The reality of Shenmue, just the technology wasn't there yet. But what you're able to do, like with Grand Theft Auto now, you know, is what Shenmue was trying to do. But it was pretty cool. It's just, it was way ahead of its time. I mean, I back Shenmue 3. We'll see if that ever comes out. Monster Hunter World. Yeah, it was cool, man. Monster Hunter's cool. I'm not anti Monster Hunter. All right, let's figure out. All right, well. Later, Josh. I know, right? well, you know, you can make fan art. It's just gonna look dumb. You can make bad fan art. You know, that's always a possibility. Never forget. It's not doing stuff that's the problem. It's doing things well. That's the hard part. Yeah, see? We call that counterintuitive. Yeah, Technique reads dope. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that either. Crusher, you can do yourself a disservice if you spend too much time drawing things that cater to your weaknesses. Like if you don't like drawing hair and you only draw bald guys, it's not gonna help. You know, you're gonna see a result. You're gonna be able to draw things, but like right now, if Brandon sat around trying to draw like X-Men drawings, it wouldn't help. It would get in the way of what he kind of needs to do with his stuff. What jams do I usually work to? Uh, just random non-lyrical stuff if I put something on. Usually raining. The sound of rain, like anime soundtracks like Haikyuu or just soundscapes is nonsense. Things that aren't gonna. The only time I turn anything on super fast is when I'm doing like repetitive tasks like graphic design where I have to like plow through a bunch of shit. Otherwise, I just take my sweet ass time and put on things that half the time I'm listening to books or audio podcasts. I don't listen to a lot of music when I'm drawing. I feel like that tempo can get you drawing at a rate that you're not actually like producing well at. I've seen too many artists turn stuff on, start drawing, and like, okay, I got all this stuff, and you're just like, you should just like not do that. Kind of work out the construction a bit better. Like, take your time. Plus, you know, working in art departments, man, someone's always fucking talking. So if you get really used to having to listen to certain music that you can't even hear anyway, then you're kind of fucked. I made that mistake a long time ago. Used to be way into listening to like my Star Wars music and stuff. Yeah, so I listen. I just tend to listen to like Sam Harris or Joe Rogan or Howard Stern or Collider Video or audio novels, you know, or just lectures. Like I have the learning, whatever. It's like all these Harvard lectures and stuff. So listen to stuff on World War One, Two, whatever. Like hardcore. Hey, hardcore history is cool too. Like whenever he puts that out. Um, But everyone thinks differently, so I wouldn't be like. I would just be wary of. I've seen artists that try to like they can only function. It's like their Iron Eagle. They can only function when they have the right tune in their ear, and it's like it's a it's not good, man. Like well, like any other job you're training for, if you act the part, then you can be the part, right? So put the best steps forward in a professional manner, and then you will be that. It will happen. Bobby Chewy's got you. Nah, I guess it depends on what if you're intimidated by. When I was a kid, I went to Comic Con, San Diego Con. My first con was when Image was founded, '92. And so I just grew up realizing that there's plenty of great artists out there. So like taking shortcuts won't help. You know, and when I watched the industry implode in the mid '90s, you know, saw what happened when people lean on shortcuts too much. Endless holographic covers and not applying themselves with story and you know, solid art. Hey, what's up, Rainbow? Just wrapping up some commissions from Amazing Con, all the online stuff. 16 hours will get you to a professional, but I can only pull such a. I don't know what that means. It means 16 hours of drawing. Man, you could spend 16 hours of drawing and still produce nonsense. Like, time isn't, I mean, time's a factor because we all have different processes and levels of talent and everything. Quality isn't always a measure of time. I mean, like, he could spend 16 hours on something and achieve a certain result, and you can spend 16 hours on something and achieve a completely different result. You know, even if you get 16 hours, like, in t-shirts, you don't get 16 hours to work on a shirt. You're lucky if you get an hour. You know, when I first started, it was like a shirt a day. Then it was like 2 shirts, and then 4 shirts, and then it was however many shirts, depending on whatever projects were due. You know. Yeah, well, 16 hours a day for a year isn't going to change anything if you're just drawing a bunch of nonsense for 16 hours a day a year. I don't know about all that, man. Like, sometimes artists say things too, man, that they didn't do. Like, did Bobby Chu spend 16 hours a day, a year, for 5 years, every day only drawing? What did he do the other hours? Did he not work? Does he have wealthy family? Did he not go to school? Did he not have to have a job after school? Was school taken care of? Did he? Like, I don't know what those specifics are. You know. I don't know how truthful he if he meant that, or if, if he's a good artist, but sometimes we exaggerate. I think they want to like shock amateur. They want to shock upcoming artists, newer artists into the realities of spending time with your art. You know, like, and so sometimes they exaggerate. Like, if it's 16, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 other hours in the day. Like, and you can't sit still for 16 hours a day with your feet out, not exploding after a while. Like, so, you know, are you really I mean, come on, you know. I've spent hundreds of hours. I've spent 100 hours on the Leia piece. I spent 100 hours on the Final Fantasy piece. You can see how I break that all up, So, Kyle, come on, man, don't make Kyle. Kyle, you said that, man, not me. That's harsh. Can you Skype, Kyle? Are you busy or are you working? Hey, what's up, Jared? Appreciate it. Moss and Jared, thanks for hanging out. What up? Cool. I just think, when you're starting out, Pegasus, when you're starting out, have a very specific goal and develop the fundamental, root things you need to achieve that goal and really focus on that and then expand outward as you sort of apply things, you know. Don't try to be an everything artist when you first start. Try everything, especially if you're in school. But if you really just wanted to focus on becoming a penciler, really, you know, comic book penciler. If you want to be a digital painter, you know, focus on achieving that, and then expand out as you go. If you want to, that's the only way you can. The only amount of time you can shorten is that, like, you know, if there is a way to shorten, then that would be. And if you say you want to do everything, great. You can do everything as you go along. Just what are you going to start out as, you know? What are you trying to do specifically? Right, so character design in America, you're going to need to draw a lot of figures. You're going to need to know 3D modeling. You're going to need to know ZBrush, maybe some physical sculpture, you know, so you can really have a hands-on way of doing things, you know? Hey, Moss is getting married. Congrats. I hope no one else announces their wedding at your wedding. We all heard that story. Let me open up Skype. Yeah, because I had to reboot the computer. Let me open it back up. Yeah, I'm not tired, and my mind is not moving as fast as it could because of the last. I spent the entire week on the road. So, oh, now it wants to update Skype. Yo, Kyle.
Good evening.
It says it's updating Skype as I have it open, so that's amazing.
Yeah, hopefully it's not one of those updates that needs a restart.
I know, right?
It's like, updating now. It's not a convenient time, guys.
Yeah.
Got a sweet Hellboy going on here.
Yay. And then when I finish it, they're going to be like, well, you fucked it up. You know, like.
Why is his hand so big?
I know. That's what she said. That'll be all I reply.
Just say, it's not my big hand. It's just relativity.
It's like when I did the little Maleficent sketch. Someone was like, "Why are the wings coming out of her butt?" I'm like, "Cause I like big bats." You know.
Well played.
He's like, "It's like all right, you know, like just leave me alone, man." You know. My buddy Joe is looking at some of my con sketches. He's like, "Are you parodying yourself?" I'm like, "These are 2 hour sketches, you fucking dick." Like, I was like, yes, I'm parodying myself. I've already jumped the shark. I haven't really even started my career yet, but I'm already. Meanwhile, I type in convention sketch into Comic Art Fans, and it's like rough head. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny, man. Like, what's the typical convention sketch you get? You know, full color with like rendered background and shit. Like, right. We got the fireworks dudes outside because they're legal here. Yay, that's fun. My dog was all like trying to figure out what is going on.
Yeah, some people around me are always shooting off fireworks. They start like 2 weeks before a holiday. They always launch them at like midnight,
Mm.
11 p.m. So, dude, really?
£500 to have a guy sing at your wedding. Eh.
Tell you what, I'll do it for half the price.
uh, the sweet baritone sounds of Kyle Wright.
That's right. Drop some mellow tunes.
You should just Shatner it, just speak. You know, like just talk. It's hilarious. Yeah, so I was supposed to start this like 2 days ago when we talked, and I didn't want to do anything. It's like, well, when you don't want to draw, don't. You know,
Yeah.
it's the best thing. Like someone was asking me the other day, like, "What do you do for when you don't want to do anything?" I'm like, "Don't sleep." Like the worst thing you could do is, I mean, unless you have a deadline, if it's just like, your own stuff or commissions, just don't. You're not gonna service any. No one's gonna win by you powering through, that stuff. Like, just take a break. It's okay. Enjoy life. I never would have took that advice when I was like in my 20s.
But now that you're old and wise,
I did. I took 3 days off and just sat around staring at the walls, typing in. Work on Game Cave a little bit, like in terms of the writing. Like I work on it, like I type stuff in the computer, and then I get a headache, and then I stop. And then when the headache goes away, I type some more stuff, as most writing goes. I went and saw. I went and saw. What's his face?
Baby Driver?
No, 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 no. This is not recently. Aaron Sorkin, when the Jobs
Mm-hmm.
movie came out, and they were asking about his writing process, and he was like, he's like, my friend, this one screenwriter he knew, said, he'd go in, he'd lie down, he'd go in, sit in front of the computer, the word processor, type in the word fuck, and then lie down and sleep. Like, it's basically every day. Yeah. Well, sometimes you need a week off.
For sure.
For me, I just had that Game Informer deadline, and then all this IDW stuff, and then Comic Con, and all the driving, and I'm like, man, I need a break. uh, I wish like when I braked, I would do more, like, I don't know, play a game or something. I sit and stare at the wall. Yeah, it's like my mind really needs to not do anything. Do dishes. All right. It's literally how I roll. All right. Hey, did you read the Elmer Fudd Batman book?
The Elmer Fudd Batman?
Yeah, there's an Elmer Fudd Batman team up crossover thing.
Nah,
You should read it. It's
it's
quite
that
good.
good.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's drawn really well too. You really should.
I guess I should add it to my list of things to accomplish.
If it's one issue, man, it's not.
Oh, it's just a.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just one issue. It's not a fucking giant.
I don't know if. I mean, a lot of those team up things, they do like 6 issues or something.
No, it's just one issue. Like 40 pages. He doesn't look like David Arbor. Oh, shut up. Always a critic.
It does look pretty interesting.
Hmm?
Elmer Fudd Batman.
Yeah, I read it.
Of course, you know that since it's good, everyone's gonna be like, "That's what we need to do to boost our sales." Huckleberry Hound Silver Surfer comic. Yes.
I think DC has the rights to that Huckleberry Hound stuff too. So.
So it'd be the DC Universe Green Lantern and Huckleberry Hound.
Yeah. They'll get them all like noired out who's be known as the Hound. That's what they do.
Jeez, I'm gone for like a few weeks and I come back and I don't know anybody in your live chat anymore.
Well, I know Brandon's gone because his computer's still broke. Yeah.
That's what he gets for updating.
They updated Windows, broke the computer. Can't even reinstall the operating system. So I got him just buying a new hard drive. And they've never done that, so that should keep him busy for a month.
So I just say, just watch the YouTube video. Oh, wait. Guess you can't watch the YouTube video.
Later, dude.
Oh, Crusher's here. It's a familiar face. Well, I guess not familiar face, as his avatar face is now different.
What did you just say? You cut out.
Crusher's... No, I was just saying that Crusher's avatar is different. I was reading about the new Hellboy that's coming out, and all these people are complaining because it's not a Guillermo del Toro movie.
No, I
I'm
was the only
excited
one.
for it.
I was the only one who didn't like those films. I was there opening day in the theater, man. And I'm like, look, are they horrible? No, they're not horrible, but they're not Hellboy. They're like Men in Black, featuring Hellboy. They never felt like Hellboy is. I mean, like Coraline felt like Hellboy, somewhere between Coraline and Pan's Labyrinth. You know, like they were just too Men in Blacky for me. Those films. So I hope to go with something slower, more methodical, dark. You know.
Yeah.
They're like, but Ron Perlman. I'm like, okay, great. He had a shot. He said no, he didn't want to do it without Guillermo. I mean, what can he do? I mean, Mignola's writing this one, which goes to show that
Yeah.
Mignola did not agree with whatever Del Toro wanted to do. You know? And if the creator of Hellboy isn't on board, then I don't know. You know, like Guillermo del Toro didn't invent Hellboy.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm hit or miss with that guy, man. I love Blade 2, and I love Pan's Labyrinth. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like I don't like Pacific Rim. You know, I didn't see the one with the house because I was told it wasn't really a house movie. So I was like, oh well, that's smart.
You gotta watch The Devil's Backbone.
Do I have to?
No,
Is
but
it that?
it's one of his better films.
No, well, I saw Hellboy in the theater, man, and I was like, well, could be worse. You know, it was serviceable. Felt like it came from the Spider-Man 2 era. That's another one too. People love Spider-Man 2. They tell you it's the best Spider-Man movie. I'm like, that's the one where he forgets his powers, right? Like this just it is a weird move in the movie, man. He just like, I just forget my powers now. I'm gonna just pretend to not have mandibles come out of my little razor blades coming out of my fucking fingernails and shit. Like I don't understand it. You know? I don't understand the point. That was a weird part in that movie. Is it horrible? No, but you know, it's not that great. It's just at the time we were like, "Oh my God, we're seeing actual Doctor Octopus and Spider-Man." Um,
Well, don't worry, there will soon be a new favorite Spider-Man movie.
well, some people say it is, and some people say it isn't. I'm like, for people who still like Spider-Man 2 better, I'm like, well, then I'm gonna love this one because fucking I couldn't stand it. Not couldn't stand it. It's just that's not the word for it. It's just not as it's not as good. It wasn't as fun for me as it was for everyone else. Put it that way. Kyle, you've disappeared.
I'm here.
uh You start talking and then it cuts you off. So I'm just trying to figure out if you disappeared.
No, I was just letting you do your Spider-Man Rob rant.
I've complained about Spider-Man 2 plenty of times. You know, like it's fine, but you know, and it doesn't matter anyway because then everything was nullified in Spider-Man 3. Like it's like, hey, they're not married. You know, she's breaking up with him. Wonderful, smart move. Let's not even get into the other shit. Just classic romantic comedy sequel mistake. Have the couple get together, and then in the sequel, they're broken up and they gotta get back together. Don't do that. It's fucking ridiculous. Like Jewel of the Nile, you know? National Treasure 2.
I'm not certain I even saw National Treasure 2.
Here's the thing. If you sit and watch it, you're gonna be like, this is stupid. Alright? Here's the trick to National Treasure. Leave it in while you're doing stuff and just listen to it. It's fun. Because they basically narrate, they say everything they're doing. So they'll be doing something and
Mm-hmm.
they'll say, "Oh, you're doing that thing." I'm like, "I know, I can see you fucking doing it." But if you listen to it, then it's fun.
It's like a radio play.
Yeah, with really good music. You know. Hey, what's up, Karen? Yeah, they did. They made an audiobook movie. You can listen to the whole thing.
World's most expensive audiobook.
So what are we gonna do? We're gonna steal the Declaration of Independence. Oh, what do you have? You have the Declaration of Independence. I know he's holding the fucking thing. We watched him steal it, but if you listen to it, you wouldn't know he's holding it. So you understand? Telling you, man, it works. I don't like this. My quick way to foreshorten circles. Blob of paint. Another blob of paint. That was when we watched Nightcrawler last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just love that movie. Closest thing to Grand Theft Auto I've seen in a film. That one and maybe Michael Bay's Pain and Gain. If you ever watched that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's definitely Grand Theft Auto, like at Vice City. But Nightcrawler, I do so like the movie. He's a creepo, bro. Because as you do know, friendship, friends, is something you give yourself. I don't know. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, so creepy. In every case, communication is the most important thing. Like, what are you saying? Who did the cinematography on that one? That was shot well.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I feel like this is something Kyle should know.
Yeah. Let me think about it for a second. I'm definitely not typing into IMDb to see. I'm
Tick,
searching
tick,
my
tap,
brain.
tap, tap, tap.
That's just the sound of my brain processing.
Uh huh.
Robert Elswit.
Who's that? Never heard of him.
Really?
Yeah.
He did like There Will Be Blood,
Oh, okay.
Magnolia. He did a bunch of P.T. Anderson
I
stuff,
know the movies. I just didn't know he did that. Yeah, you got me on that one.
which, funny enough, I was going to say his name, but then I was like, wait, I'm just thinking about him because I read an article that mentioned him today. Because
So you didn't really know
P.T.
you.
Anderson. Well, I thought I did, but then I was like, no, it's because I was reading about P.T. Anderson today and how he ended up DPing his own movie, this most recent one, because Robert Elswit was not available.
Because he was shooting. He was shooting Nightcrawler.
Uh, he was shooting Suburbicon.
What? Is that like
That's
one of
his
those cleverly titled indie films, or is it like, did he just take the?
directed by George Clooney,
Oh, that'll suck.
starring Matt Damon, Oscar Isaac, and Julianne Moore.
George Clooney, the only director dumb enough to change a Charlie Kaufman script. Why would you do that? Why would you ever change one word of anything Charlie Kaufman writes?
Was that the Confessions of whatever
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, he changed it. I mean, look, man, you can't sign up to do Charlie Kaufman work and start changing his fucking. I mean, for real, dude. Don't go, well, it needed it. No, it really didn't. You know, like Mr. George Clooney. Look, I like Clooney. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's not a good move, man. It's not a good look for him.
Catch you later, Pegasus. Thanks for hanging out.
Later. Be like, Rob agreed to direct a movie that Aaron Sorkin wrote and changed his dialogue. Like, ooh, not a good move, man. I wonder if there'll be any visual difference now that Anderson's DPing his own film. Yeah. What if it looks like?
Well,
What if it looks like fucking Power Rangers? Like, you know?
he got his same gaffer he's been using. So they got the same guy like lighting everything.
Oh, so I was rewatching it. The documentary is called Cinematographer Style. And so, like, one guy says, because in the beginning, all the different guys, they go through alphabetical order. There's a couple women in there. They go through alphabetical order and they say who they are. There's like fucking 20 people, man. It goes on. But one guy goes, I'm so and so and so, and I'm a cinematographer, not a director of photography. What did he mean by that?
Uh, some people think that cinematographer is a fancier title.
But it's the same thing, right? That was just like him going, I'm better than the, I don't know. I'm not sliding him. I'm just saying, sometimes people go, "Oh, you're a penciler." No, I'm an illustrator. Like, okay, I get that. Like, unless there really was a difference that it gets confused with.
It's used more or less interchangeably,
I got you.
but I mean, like to really break it down, like some people say that a director of photography is in charge of all of camera and lighting, whereas a cinematographer, uh, cinematographer is just in charge of lighting and camera department, whereas a director of photography actually directs everything that happens in the frame. So he's in charge of like the framing and like how the costumes look on screen, like. But I don't know. I think it's not really a big difference.
Yeah, I just figured it was like hoity-toity shit.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm not an artist. I'm an illustrator.
Yeah, well, it's true, but you know, you know.
Yeah,
Later, Crusher.
yeah. I mean, like on IMDb, like your credit is cinematographer, not director of photography.
That's what I'm saying. How do you get credit with a like when it comes to like guilds and shit? What would they credit you as? You know what I mean? Like if you were up for an Oscar, it'd be for cinematography, not director, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No, whatever. Whatevs. Maybe Daniel Day Lewis saw some of the lighting and then quit.
He's like, this is why I'm getting out of film.
He announced it the same week and Transformers came out. And people were like, he saw Transformers last night and quit acting. That's fucked up. I wish that were true. Because I'm
Yeah.
afraid it's for health, you know? I'm afraid. I hope it's just because he's done, you know?
Yeah.
Alrighty. That one's done. Open.
Did you have you seen those DC statues, like their Artist Alley series?
Yeah, I saw that. It's clever.
I think those are pretty cool looking. It's like, huh, you need to do some Rob figures.
Fat chance. I'm not in Artist Alley.
No, you're not. But you're ever, or you get a booth, huh? When you
In
go
Artist
to
Alley,
Amazing.
yeah. That 1 year. I'll go to the 1 year, go
Yes.
there, see all the video games. So I go, you should be like, yeah. So don't think that'll ever happen. Let's just say publishers have a limited imagination.
What?
All right. Do 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 do.
What character is this?
Uh, Jury. Juri Yuri or Jury? I don't know. From Street Fighter 4.
Okay, interesting here.
Hey man, they get crazy out there.
You doing how many of these? 8, 10?
I actually have a few more than I've posed right now. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. These are 6, and I have about 10 total.
Okay.
But I'm grouping them together, so these are a little bit more random poses. And then there's 2 that are left over from the con that I tried to I could have finished, but they're one was a sketch cover he provided that just once you started coloring on it, it was impossible to color on. Like it was impossible. It
Oh
was
yeah,
it was impossible. Kind of like I tried, and I was like, this isn't
that's
gonna.
when you said it was like the old, like an older cover
Yeah,
material.
yeah. It wasn't. So I gave him the option of a refund, or I can come and finish it when I get home on my own paper. And so we went that route. And the other one was a guy who actually um, bought a commission slot the first day. I had this problem, man. I didn't realize it, but he paid with card, and my
Hmm.
Square Up wasn't actually charging anybody. It was getting hung up on the screen where you're supposed to sign and not actually processing. So I thought it was processing these things, and it wasn't. So the first day, probably lost out on $200 worth of shit because they weren't actually
Mm.
processing. And he was when I realized with his, I said, hey, and he didn't actually get back to me until like the last day. I was like, well, I can't get it today. Do you mind if I ship it out to you? So the shipping on that one's coming out of my pocket because it's kind of my bad. But that was new. So I had to use Brandon's phone, which I hate doing because he has the iPhone 7, which doesn't have the phone jack, which means I
Hmm.
couldn't use the card reader. I had to manually type in the fucking numbers.
That and also just Brandon's stuff works and yours doesn't.
Which
It's
irked
like,
the shit out of me
eh.
because it worked just fine. Worked just fine that day, but the day of the con, stopped working. Could not explain it. Still won't fucking work right, man. App turns on, but it won't process. It's the strangest fucking thing, man. So I don't know what to do. I have a year to figure it out. I'll work that out when I get there. And then 3 of them are Overwatch characters. Just coincidentally speaking, from 3 different people. So I'm going to group those toward the back end and then get on my Overwatch piece.
Nice.
See how I do all that?
Hmm.
Uh,
Seems like Overwatch is pretty
yeah, it's popular.
popular
That's why I was hoping
game
to have
for
that.
commissions.
Well, I was hoping to have that piece there, but it just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So
Have you seen Mateus Santaluca stuff?
who?
Mateus Santaluca. He's
No.
the artist on the Turtles right now. He's this Brazilian guy. Like, I haven't read any of the modern Turtles, but I went down to the San Diego Comic Art Gallery for the uh, Usagi gallery they were doing, and they had some of his art on one of their walls. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, they have good artists over there. Yeah. A lot of good artists. Hard for me to be like a fan of stuff just because a lot of this isn't my generation.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not. It's not bad art. It's just not the kinds of things. It's like modern Capcom. I don't really care for. It's. I guess we're just a product of the things that inspired us. Sometimes, you know.
Hmm.
I think when it comes to art, I get more inspired by like anime or I don't know. Even then, not all stuff. You know, like I like older stuff. I don't know. It changes. I like a lot of French art. You know, modern American comics. Not all the stuff. Some, but you know, a lot of well drawn stuff. Just a lot of well
Yeah.
good those Transformer artists too, man. But would I be like, oh man, I got like no, not really. You know, like it's just. I guess once you start doing the stuff, you know, you see things differently. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, German. That's really confusing. Your
I
name's
know.
German, but you're from Russia. You're throwing us off. Welcome to the stream.
A lot of the American comic art leans heavy on the inks with the little halftones and the splats. And then it gets colored and you can't see any of it. I'm like, that was great in black and white. Can we just print that? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't really need Sean Gordon Murphy's art colored for me, you know? Like, so I think it kind of does it a disservice half the time.
Yeah. I guess kind of felt that way about Mateus's art because I saw the stuff on the wall. I'm like, whoa, this is really cool. I gotta check out the stuff he did in the books. And I open up the books. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
good, but
No,
you
it
lose
does. It's
so
not the
much of
same.
his
Yeah.
you lose so much of his line work
And
when
the
it comes
turtles
to
were in
this
black
inked
and
and
white.
colored.
You know what I mean? I just don't know, man.
Yeah,
Like the things that make the things what they were versus what they become. I don't know. They don't. I don't know. That's why I'm
I
like,
guess
hmm?
I don't mind the turtles in color because the cartoon is how I first discovered the turtles, and that was what really got me into turtles was the cartoon. So my first kind of taste of it was in color. But I will admit I do like their red bandanas when they're all red better than their colored bandanas, but I guess it doesn't really bug me as much. I think kind of the same way you were talking about Hellboy that I saw the movies first,
Oh, oh
then I read
wow,
the
really?
then I read the books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
No.
I had no idea who Hellboy was.
I was at Comic Con when it
I
came
was
out. You know what? It's
I was not.
weird, dude. The shit I've been like, I'm like the Forrest Gump. You know what I mean? For like, like when I tell people, you know, like I was there when that came out and this came out. Like when I was a kid, it was all thought like that this was just going to be the new norm. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like this is like, this is all starting now. This is all just going to be the way it's always going to be, and no idea that that was just going to be the total exception, and that there'd be like a 20-year period of nothing till The Walking Dead came out, and then it would all just be The Walking Dead and Marvel movies, I suppose. I mean, right? Like, it's
Yeah,
not quite the same presence for anything else anymore. So, um, but I was there for all that stuff, so and I knew it was amazing at the time. It's not like I didn't appreciate that it was amazing. It's just like when they're like, "What do you?" Because like, I was thinking the other day, like I would never go to a comic convention as a fan ever again. I'm just there's nothing I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's just not the real innovative products. If I was gonna see a real innovative or innovative, do you think it's innovative in the UK? That sounds smarter.
innovative.
It's innovative. right? Like if you're sometimes
It's innovative.
sometimes in Australia or the UK they go innovative, right? Like that's a smart. It
I,
sounds smarter. Um, I'm not saying I'm smarter. Sometimes I just like to sound smarter. So, all right, the real like innovative innovative products. You're gonna kind of find them on Kickstarter. You know what I mean? Or on a webcomic, and then they eventually go to Kickstarter. So it's like this hanging out with artists on YouTube and supporting them on Kickstarter or Patreon if that's your jam. Not quite my jam, but if that's your jam, then that's what I used to get at a Comic Con. You know, in terms of like meeting famous people, like meeting Mike Mignola, I did all that. There's nothing I can. But yeah, I mean, like I was there when Hellboy came out, The Darkness came out, Concrete came out, Milk and Cheese was brand new. You know, all sorts of weird shit.
so my,
Hmm?
my question for you, because I see a lot of comics, like new comics coming out now, and there's just so much noise. It's like, how do I figure out what's good? Like back when Hellboy came out, did you see it? And it was just like one of like 100 other comics that were just they were just hawking. You're like, here's
No,
another
because it
guy.
was wrapped around a promotion that it was going to be Dark Horse's image. So he debuted
Okay,
in Dark Horse Presents, but it was all like they're going to put them together and they're going to do Legend. You know, like it was all. I mean, I knew Mignola because he had done Gotham by Gaslight, and so I was
yeah,
trying to find. And I went back and saw his Cosmic Odyssey stuff. So I was like, oh, this is like a cross between Jack Kirby and like evil shit. You know, like evil Jack Kirby. You know, or Mobius Jack Kirby, lots of shadows. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And so they packaged that stuff together though after Dark Horse Presents into Legend. But I mean, I would just followed them because I mean, in 1992. I also at my first Comic Con, that Comic Con, they gave away free copies of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which he drew. Mignola drew Bram Stoker's Dracula because Topps had just launched their own comic company, and that was their first book. They had that and then Mars Attacks, and I was like, this fucking movie sucks, but this artwork is amazing. You know, like so it just good taste, maybe, Kyle. You know what I mean? Like, and bro, there was a lot of shit at con. Everyone had their own artist alley or the small press area, really was tons of fucking like poorly like ripped off looking Liefeld character. You know what I mean? Like lots of cross action and chrome. You know, there was a lot of that stuff. Um, they weren't all gems. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, there was so much better. Like, no, there was a lot of bullshit. There always is. In terms of being able to like wade through it and say, well, how do you find something? I would say it's harder now at a con because Artist Alley in the 90s was just for pro artists. So when they weren't at
hmm,
the DC table, they'd go to their table and draw there, and you can maybe get some. You can meet them outside of that venue. When they half the time they were just working on their own shit that was due that month anyway, because deadlines
hmm,
are deadlines, whether they're at con or not at con, or they'd be up in their hotel working on them. So maybe you catch them for an hour. There'd be a lot of dead area in Artist Alley. They didn't open that up to purchasing tables until the early 2000s. Um, and so small press is where you could find those books. But now you know you just it's just it's just endless walls of prints and everything else. It's it's hard to find books because I mean so the cost of getting into con is so expensive anyhow. You so I don't know how to discover things in that respect other than to say I would search web comics if you're looking for that indie thing, and then kind of follow them and see where they're going to be.
okay.
The last time I went to a Comic Con as a fan was the year Hero Bear came out. I'm like, this is the best book I show, Hero Bear. My friend Joe looking at me, you're crazy. I'm like, I'm fucking telling you, it's gonna win a fucking Eisner. I found Hero Bear, I found Owly. You know? Like, I should have been a producer, Kyle. You know what I mean? I have a talent for this. That's why in t-shirts, I was like the guy who could always find the next license. I was playing Minecraft when it was like Alpha 1.2, you know? So, but, so when I say there's nothing at Comic-Con for me, it's tough because why am I going if there's nothing there for me? You know what I'm saying? Like as a fan, it's tough. Well, I don't want to leave certain people out, but I'm like, but I wouldn't be going. So that means the people who would buy my stuff, that the people that 15-year-old Rob wouldn't be here. You know, where would
Mm-hmm.
15-year-old Rob be? Well, online. So when I'm not online, I'm fucking around at the convention. I get very mad. Angry Rob, you know? I also get frustrated at that process because I do believe being able to meet people you've been following is important. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think they're taking away from that. And so I think, you know, these cons should not be subsidized by the artists. Call me crazy, you know. But then I've talked to convention owners and they're like, well, you don't understand how hard it is to rock a rhyme. I don't, you know, I could always cut them off, you know. I don't think if you go to Comic Con, you'd find a lot of new stuff. I think it's too expensive for that. Maybe something like
Mm-hmm.
the WonderCon or Ape or something. You'd have a better shot at it. But I do dig through like webcomic sites. I'll find stuff here and there. And be like, oh, that's fucking awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Um, Sometimes just digging through the bowels of comicsology. That's how I found Delicious in Dungeon, which I love. I love that fucking book. I'm like, ah, that is my number one comic. Delicious in Dungeon and the Invader Zim comic are my two favorite books right now. So I do read comics books. It's not like I'm not reading them. I'm like, I'm past it. I've seen it all. Like, no, just this whole like road to injustice fucking nonsense. I don't give a shit about the mass company crossover. I don't care if Marvel has 12 legacy books and it's core Captain America. I don't care. You know, I was never into comics for that anyhow. As for the Turtle stuff, I stopped reading Turtles comics when they killed Splinter. 2003? I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
it was. It was when they killed Splinter. And I was like, you know what? I'm out. Just also coincidentally happened to be the month Peter Laird told me I wasn't a very good artist. Not saying they're tied together. You know, I wasn't like that mad at him. I kind of didn't think I was right for the book at the time anyway. But you know, I'm like, I think Peter Laird and Rob Duenas have two very different ideas about what the Ninja Turtles are, and who am I to tell the creator? You know. So I'm out. I thought the Rick and Morty comic was written well, but the art is it's not quite up to snuff for me.
Now, did you see they finally have a release date for season 3?
Yeah, saw the trailer too. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Only something this stupid or this smart could be that stupid. It's hilarious. And that'll be the last thing I watch until it actually comes out. My wife has finally admitted I was right about Rick and Morty. I'm just gonna go back and watch the other. I got her on Pickle Rick, dog. You know? Boom.
Pick
Got her on Pickle
Rick.
Rick, and I got her on Roy, A Life Worth Living. uh, Boom. Big reveal. I'll tell you what really did it. It was that courtroom animation. You have a constitutional right to be
Mm.
a dumbass. Like, that's what even she could not deny. I think it's because it had the least amount of Ricks you know, disgusting coughing or whatever.
Hmm.
But once I told her, I'm like, everyone else in the show is disgusted by it. It's not like that's the normal and everyone likes it. She was able to get around. Okay, so everyone else finds him revolting? Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, he's just, no one likes him, like, except his daughter and this planet. She'll get to that one. I did meet up with the Owly guy a couple years back. What con was it? I think it was the last time I went to Phoenix Con. He was there. I was like, hey, man, I was at the 2001 San Diego Con when you debuted this shit. Just wanted you to know, man. Shit's fucking awesome. I knew it was going to be fucking awesome. Still think your shit's awesome. Fucking, so. He's like, oh, man, I know your stuff. I'm like, hey, thanks. But, yeah. Once Game Cave's done, I gotta start, or in regular rotation, I gotta find a con that's more book oriented. I think, you know? So, less.
Book con.
I wish they really we'd focus on that.
So these pieces you're doing right now, are these you're just kind of doing basic shapes and then you're gonna just do your line art on top of that?
Yeah, and then just color that exact line art. Same I would at a con. The only difference is what I do at cons instead of the silhouette is I draw a sketch card size pose, and then I
Hmm.
enlarge it using my phone and trace it onto a piece of paper and then do all the details. So these will look
Okay.
slightly better than the ones at con, but I'm trying to spend that much more time. Just I prefer to draw like this. Going to have a sketch related to the con. You're going to have a sketchcraft live in regards to the con event.
Uh,
What,
they were
huh?
going to, and then Brandon broke his laptop, so Brandon can't live stream right now. So you know,
Are you or were you? Con's come and gone. Was I?
well,
I
I think he's talking about because you told me you were gonna do kind of like a con recap, and then
oh yeah, con
Brandon broke his
recap.
computer, and you couldn't.
Yeah, whenever
Yeah.
Brandon gets his shit, we'll talk about what happened at con. I don't know, guys. I'm not. I'm not. I didn't. I enjoyed meeting Ash and his wife, and I enjoyed meeting Ashley and her mom, and I enjoyed meeting a couple fans, that are fans of the show. Um, that's it, guys. Like, if you want to have a real uplifting day, I would not listen to that podcast. It's not gonna go well. I don't have a lot of nice compliments, and I know Brandon's always afraid that that's gonna get back to his friends that run the show. You know, to which I'm like, I don't give a shit. You know, like they're not doing me a whole lot of favors, man. Like I mean, they put me
Put you
in
in
the
the
very
back.
back. They put me in the very back next to the guys that Brandon used to hang out with in Phoenix. So I'm right next to his little fucking clique. You know what I mean? And it's just like in nowhere's right next to the caricature artist, by the way. So that's great. They brought in a bunch of caricature artists. So it was a good way to cut into commissions when you got some guy sitting there drawing those Jay Leno chins all fucking day for you. You know, why don't you just bring a fucking carnival ride too, man? Petting zoo. You had some robbery at the con, no, because there's no time for that shit. Um, but I mean, man, I just haven't had an amazing con experience. I don't know if I ever had, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I've done well at cons where I didn't spend any money going, and that's always nice. But I've never been like, that was really fucking amazing, folks. Like, I have a really good time here hanging out with you folks. That's true. Like, when I'm honestly, man, like guys, when I am not in the mood to do shit, I'm like, I should just stream because I'm gonna have a good time. You know? Um, but cons, like the best con I ever had for me professionally was 2008, probably 2000. No, 2009. It was the last con I was with Play, and that's when I had just already had the Death Junior was kind of rolling, and we're ready to ship in about 6 months. And Jeff Matsuda was there, and he gave me the thumbs up because he created the visuals on Death Junior. And I was drawing next to LaShawn Thomas and Dave Dorman and Joe Mad came by the booth and shit because we had just done his Darksiders cover and got the hey, you're dope, dude. And I'm like, oh shit, thanks, and so and the booth looked great, and I was jumping between Play and Ape Entertainment with Kevin Grievous and signing Monster Race stuff there. So like that was it. 2009. It's all been a fucking nightmare since. It was kind of fun when I used to travel with Tom because Tom's fun to hang out with because we disagree on like every movie ever. So that's just always fun to be in the car. Just like trying to go, what? Like, so, um, but those days are over. So, I got to get Game Cave out and go to con with Game Cave and maybe an extra art book and see how I like that experience. I haven't given myself the experience where I have my own book and I get to pitch a story to people experience yet, not since I was pitching Death Junior to people or
Mhm.
Monstroids. So I'm going to give myself that experience. And if I enjoy that, then I'll continue. I might have to continue half booths or definitely make Brandon pay for a quarter of the booth because Ashley paid for a quarter. So if Brandon pays for a quarter, that means I'm only buying one table, you know? So,
Mhm.
and if I don't like it once I have Game Cave, then I'm not going to do those cons anymore. I'll have to find something I do enjoy doing or I won't do any of them. But I'm not going to every year go and do this thing where I hate my existence for a couple. I mean, it was a lot of effort, Kyle. It's a lot of effort, man. You know? My wife's like, but you bought all those booth materials. I'm like, yeah, yeah. Could be a total waste. You know? I don't know. I don't do well at cons, man. Like for a lot of reasons, and I'm a niche artist. I have my own thing. You know, and I never do enough of any of it. Like I'm either not doing enough cartooning, or I'm not doing enough saucies, or I'm not doing enough of the gritty art style or the hot chicks with the cupid thing. Everyone always wants, something I'm not doing. I'm like, right, if I just had more of that, that would solve all my problems. I'm like, if I just had 5 Robs, we could get a lot of work done.
Yeah, but then you gotta feed them all. And, like, Find housing for them.
I know, like multiplicity, right?
Never watched it.
I went to that, saw that in the theater. The girlfriend at the time made me go. I like Michael Keaton, but that's a tough one.
You're like, I like Michael Keaton. I don't like 8 Michael Keatons.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind the driving. What I minded was how dangerous that back stretch of road is to be driving on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, driving at night is not an option. It's too dangerous. It's a 2-lane highway in the middle of nowhere, and there's wild fucking deer everywhere. You know, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Has anyone tried to give me advice on how to draw after being a professional? Has anyone tried to? No, because I mean, you know, they can see what I'm up to. I've had, I mean, I have people who can't draw try to give me advice. That's always fun. Not pros, you know. I have too much variety in my portfolio for them to think that maybe I'm leaning on one style or another, you know. If they have a piece of advice, they just look to something else and it's there. It's like, oh no, okay, so you're just doing this on purpose, you know. They don't agree with it. But pros, I mean, people that shouldn't be giving anyone advice, I get that shit, you know, every other week. I got one the other day where someone posted on my Instagram. It's always someone who can't do anything. It's really great. I don't reply to this because it only validates your opinion on some level, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll read it to you. So I had posted one of the sketchbooks that I had to do a commission for. He goes, all you fall in the same error. Hard work and excellent techniques, but where are the original characters? The creative. When you're all doing the same. Want to be the king apes. I don't know what that means. My little cousin is more creative and can do more money with his pictures. Now anything you made is own. All is own property of another company. Learn in style, learn techniques, and all this for $40 for one sketch in Comic Con and a little profit. And so I don't know what this means. But so nice, me cousin. You know. Basically, his broken fucking English. He was saying that, you know, we all suck for not making up our own shit. Meanwhile, it's a fucking Marvel sketch cover. They don't want my character on a fucking sketch cover, dumbass. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny, man. Even if Jeff Smith had agreed to do the sketch cover, they wouldn't want Bone on a fucking Iron Man sketch cover, or you know, it doesn't work like that. Like,
Maybe Ironbone.
Iron Bone. Well, that's what Dave Sim used to do. He'd draw Cerebus. If you want Spider-Man, he'd be a Spider-Man Cerebus.
Mm-hmm.
That was his way around it. But I mean, I get stuff like that all the time where someone's like, you know, where's your original thoughts? I'm like, I sold them the fucking image in Ape and they never published them. Motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I just, it's all I tried to do was my own shit. But people don't understand what happened to the fucking market in 2005 and 6, and then they own the publishing rights to that shit for like 5 to 7 years. What happened in 2014? What happened in 2011? I was working at fucking Game Fan, not making any money. Had to go back, and then in 14, I lost my fucking job because of God, motherfuckers. You know, like, it drives me crazy, bro. You know, all I wanted to do was my own thing. I never wanted to sit around drawing other people's fucking characters. Wasn't my fucking plan in life.
Maybe you should get in touch with his cousin and see
Yeah, he's got the little
get some
genius fucker's got
advice.
it all figured out. You know what I mean? This little fucking cock knocker. You know?
Like, oh, where can I buy your cousin's original book? Oh, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I can't come up with one fucking idea. You got me. You got me, dog. You know? You got me. I don't know what waifu is.
Me neither.
But, you know, I gotta let it go. I gotta realize this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, you know? He's gonna be Mr. Art Critic since he can't do anything. That's my favorite thing when they love to tell you what all their friends can do, you know? They can't do jack shit, but I'm gonna hear about what their family, their brother or their cousin or some. Oh, I don't. I didn't know that. News to Rob. Now I know.
Uh,
So you know, it's like, what do I care? Yes, I'm a talentless hack. You got me figured out. There, we can move. We can move beyond now. We all agree. And then when Game Cave's out for a few years, they're gonna be like, well, why don't? If you were a real pro, you would be have job at Marvel DC. You know what I'm saying? There'll be something fucking else, man. There's always something else. Why won't you draw for? It'd be great if you drew Transformers comic. You know? Yeah, I know. There's a publisher right now that would really love for me to do that, but Rob won't do it. You know? I'm the only artist I know that continually turns down art jobs because I'm too busy working on my own thing and then getting chewed out for not having my own thing. It's really wonderful. Just came it came on the wrong heels of the wrong week. You know what I mean? It's not the week.
hmm
Not the week to be too critical of me right now. I mean, it's not gonna stop my efforts. It's just dicks. Thanks for telling me some shit I didn't already know. You know, it's hilarious, dude. Ha 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 ha. My little cousin. Ha ha. I can just here. I'm gonna invent some characters right now because you know that's the trick, folks. Just invent your own characters. Let's just make one right now, right? Because you know we'll just make anything. Like we'll do here. We'll do a round stupid dude. Here we go. Ooh, do 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 do, and he'll have a fucking chainsaw for a head. Chainsaw head guy, right? All right, and he's like, yeah, chainsaw dude, and he's got like, and he's on the Segway for, you know, there we go, Segway, you know, you know, and we'll just do our comic, you know, and he works at Walmart. I don't know, you know, like so funny. How do I feel about abstract art? I don't do enough drugs. I get there's a point, but when it comes to modern art, man, I don't do enough. I never responded to it as a kid, and I don't respond well to it now. It's just not for me. It's from Street Fighter 5, I guess. I can't remember. 4? I used to know all this stuff. And then I started watching Doctor Who. I'm like, there's just so many episodes. I'm only retaining so much. And then I get the Who and the Sherlock all mixed up sometimes. Oh, shit. What's it for? I stopped really playing after Alpha 3.
Let's see. I played Street Fighter 2. It may have been the last time I ever played Street Fighter. But as we all know, I'm no gamer.
This is true. These are meant to be faster commissions, so I'm not going to go and render every little. You excited about Top Gun 2?
Nope.
Like that
I
first
will
Top
tell
Gun.
you.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I will tell you what I am excited about.
Hmm.
It's been a long time since there have been any good Jackie Chan movies.
Oh, you like the trailer?
Yeah,
Cool.
I think it looks like the kind of Jackie Chan films that I enjoyed when I was younger.
Yeah, I was not a fan of Rush Hour and Shanghai Noon and all that stuff.
And then it went downhill from those.
Oh, yeah, he made movies after that?
It's best if we pretend he did not.
For real?
The Kingdom, I think, was
Oh,
one.
I didn't see that stuff.
Something like that. Yeah. It's just been terrible stuff that. So it's nice to see him kind of have a return to form. Well, potentially. Who knows? Maybe
Who's the
this movie will
director?
be awful. I don't know.
Was it I think it was Martin Campbell.
You are correct.
Boom! Look look at that. And you know I didn't look that shit up because, you know, the computer. Thoughts on Jumanji too. Hey, it's what I always wanted a Dungeons and Dragons movie to be, where they get trapped in the Dungeons and Dragons game. So we'll see if it's actually funny. Who knows? But I'm fine with the premise. I didn't really like the original Jumanji. I know a lot of people. I wasn't a fan of Robin Williams movies. You know, I like The Fisher King and I like Good Will Hunting. That's it. Like, I know that seems sacrilege to people. I thought he was a good fit for the genie. I'll give you that. Like, I enjoyed the Aladdin movie. But that's it. So, I didn't care for Good Morning Vietnam or Dead Poets Society. I didn't like it. You know, it's not my, he just was a guy, Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm not sitting through that shit. He just a guy who just, I respect his comedy, but his movies just never really gave a fuck about. I liked him in Insomnia. There, that one. That one I liked. Um, so I wasn't a big fan of Jumanji when it originally came out. I got stuck watching it on a bus to Disneyland for my grad night in my senior year, and I was like, "Fucking hate this movie." Like, can we just watch Jurassic Park? And I like the director, Joe Johnson, directed Rocketeer. Yeah.
Did Joe Johnson do the Captain America First Avenger?
You betcha.
Yeah. Though I do have to admit, I think that is the worst of the Captain Americas by far.
It's a fucking awesome movie. It's like saying that piece of chocolate cake is the worst piece of chocolate cake on the fucking. It's chocolate cake. I love the fucking Golden Age Marvel when they're walking around the World's Fair and you can see the Human Torch outfit and shit. I love it. And it had the best fucking ending where he's Twilight Zone ending. And the Red Skull looked awesome. Did Brandon see the Transformers? Nope, no one did. Dude, it's not like it's getting beat this Friday on the box office. Transformers did so poorly. Let's watch. I'll get a DMCA for showing Box Office Mojo. Friday, Baby Driver and Wonder Woman kicked Transformers' ass. So awesome. 89 million domestically. Look, 4,000 screens, dude. And Baby Driver's kicking its ass this weekend. How awesome is that?
That's what I like to see.
Yeah, right? There is justice. That Wonder Woman Baby Driver can knock that. Look, man, I love the Transformers, but this shit has to stop. You know? I like that Cars 3 is struggling to break 100 million. Like it just barely broke it in the States. Where's Cars 3 at worldwide? 42 million foreign. Ha 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 ha. Good. No more of those shitty movies.
Well,
Friends
except
that
for
I have friends that worked
the,
on the Transformers movies. So I want them to know I'm not knocking my friends' work. These movies have to stop. They could put my friends to work on good Transformers movies. They don't have to. You know, in China, it dropped from like because it had this big push in China, but this weekend it's like tanked 80%. So even they're not like they rush to go see it, and then they're like, "Oh no, this sucks." So how great is that? Son of a bitch, it's taking forever. I got my copy of Rogue One in 3D. Came in a sizable disc for what I paid for it. All things considered.
Is that the one with like you can swap out the covers?
Yeah, I got that one.
I think that was that the Target exclusive, I think?
Yeah, yeah, the Target exclusive. Brandon didn't. It must be. Yeah, yeah.
That should be the tagline. So bad, even Brandon didn't see it.
True that, dude. True that. So bad, even a caveman won't watch it. Hey. Alrighty. What do I have? 2, 3. It's 2 more. No, 3 more. What time is it? How long have I been doing this? Is it the 2 hour mark? It's 2:43. I should take a break and then come back and work on this stuff. You're up late.
Yeah, I should probably go to sleep. I gotta get the camera to a friend tomorrow.
So we did 3. We did this dude, the Hellboy, and the Jury. So, or Yuri, whatever her name is. So, I'm going to go take a break and then I'll be back on, and I got 3 more to lay out.
All right, have fun, Rob. Catch you later.
All right, peace, everybody.